Good evening, everybody. I am sorry for such a late start. I definitely got out of work late, but the real culprit here is all this. So there's something related to the accident. Apparently, there is mail that was sent to me back in August, and I'm only just getting it now. This may or may not be related to a postal strike. I think it has a lot more to do with the fact that my name and address were wrong. So I think it's actually slightly more amazing that I'm getting the mail at all as opposed to the fact I'm getting it so late. So I definitely needed to take a look at that. And then I'm actually also doing some laundry right now. So I should stress in about 20 minutes, I'm probably going to have to go and change that out. And so only I couldn't really resist. So the main reason why I'm not doing XCOM 2 is I'm not entirely sure with this amount of time I can do it justice, which is a shame because I have been loving it and I really do want to get back to XCOM 2. But I've actually also wanted to get back to this one, and now that it's after Halloween and all the horror posers are gone. The thing is that I believe Outlast Trials, I don't think it was a beta, but I do think it was in some kind of an early access period when I played it before. I actually just taken a look. I've got a fair amount of time. I think it's like the second or third most played game that I have on Epic. It's a fair amount. But I remember quite liking this. I've actually also played it co-op with Kite 260, But anyways, the funny thing is that since this has gotten a full release, I have not touched it. And I believe it's actually gotten multiple updates up to and including invasion mechanics, which I will probably turn off for the purposes of the stream. But it really does seem there's a few reasons why I wanted to do this. One is a little bit of I don't even want to say it's a spiteful reason, but it did actually make it front of mind. There was a bit of a kind of a tiff in a local game chat where somebody was really insistent on calling, kind of doing this weird class war stuff with recipients of CMF grants. And, I'm going to accept that probably I don't want to make this too much about politics, but I'm willing to accept that my politics will be a bit different from most others. Like, I am aggressively centrist, which means I will not be appealing to anyone. But I am a product of my preferences. Obviously, I believe that center positions are statistically the more. I am really worried about the bit rates I'm seeing here. Like, I'll accept a little bit of choppiness on the game while it gets set up. I may actually have to. Well, let's see what happens. Anyway, yeah, sorry. I did disable my VPN, right? Okay, anyways, I'll get this anecdote out of the way. So, like, the main thing that I wanted to say is, like, I will accept that there's going to be differences of opinion on some of these things. And obviously in the society that is structured the way that we have, it's healthy and productive for those voices to be aired. But I do also sort of think that it's very hard to just sort of say, hey man, not cool. And particularly when there's going to be an audience really supporting that sort of thing. And I guess the thing that I would say is my experience of people on both sides of CMF and sort of related programs has always been that these are people very much like maybe any developer friends you may know, right? Like, they're feeling a lot of uncertainty about whether or not they're getting the money. They don't really feel. I think some people kind of treat it. There's a Charlie Kaufman movie. I think it's the first one he directed called Synecdoche, New York. Sorry, I'm terrible at pronouncing that word. Now you can try and compare it with metonymy. Um, but I quite liked it. But it's interesting because the main character in it gets a MacArthur Fellowship, also known as the Genius Grant. But the depiction of the award is this seemingly infinite flow of money, where the MacArthur Fellowship is a fair amount of money, but it's definitely not the sort of thing that would support the kind of massive project that that's depicted in the film. And that's fine, because like nobody's gonna say, anybody who's sitting down and watching a Charlie Kaufman movie saying like, that's not how MacArthur grants or fellowships work, like you've already lost the audience at that point. Yes, hello, Vanguard Master. I had a really hard time getting started, so but yeah, so anyways, it's one of these things where, because so much of the anger seemed to be directed in a way where it's like, it was very hard not to see it almost as this kind of sour grapes case, where it's like, I deserve this grant, but it's the ones who were granted it, were granted it for, unclean reasons, right? I wanted to express as clearly as I could that, I think you can make some of the statements about the state of the games industry in a way that doesn't kind of press gang the recipients of awards into the service of the bad guys, which is kind of what I thought those comments were doing. But in any case, it turned really, really nasty quickly, which, that's one of the few cases, I guess, online where I was like, I don't know, I wasn't that invested in it, but I think because it's like a local thing, right? I did make the point that's like, I do think you are talking in a way that you wouldn't if we were face to face. And I don't think the fact that you're on a keyboard makes that okay. But it did get me thinking a bit about the CMF grants, because as far as gaming are concerned, like, it really does seem to be quite a successful program. I've definitely seen recipients that have produced games that don't quite work for me, but like, I think the thing about that is like, you can kind of say this about the act of creating a game in the first place, right? Like, not every game that gets made is going to be successful. Not every game that gets made is going to be good. But it's that process of allowing us to sort of try and even potentially fail, like not fall short, but just outright fail. I think that's one of the things that allows us to continue to have good games and to innovate. And, I think probably where some of the culture war stuff comes in is probably really at its heart more about, what kind of a net we put in place to make sure that those failures are not, life-altering. But again, like I said, this isn't really a case to litigate the case so much as just sort of talk about the origins for it. And one of the reasons, so the reason for this overly long introduction here, one, also running out the clock on my laundry a little bit, but I don't think I can get 20 minutes on the CMF here. But one of the, I guess 15 minutes now. But one of the big things for me is that I always like highlighting the fact that Outlast is a CMF recipient. By the way, I shouldn't actually, I may have mistakenly called them grants, because my understanding is the CMF is not a grant. They're favorable financing terms, but I do believe the money is intended to be paid back. And I think that's one of the reasons why when you see very successful companies, or like very successful games coming out of the CMF, you will probably see in a lot of cases that they turn around and self-finance the next game. And that's largely because I think, they're probably making the right call on that. They want all the money. If the CMF has a reasonable, in my view, claim on a certain amount of the return, and if you feel that your next project will be maybe not even equally successful, but successful enough, then you may wind up seeing that kind of grant as, or not grant, that kind of award as a, as more of a liability, right? So better than a bank, but maybe not as good as self-financing, because of course you take all the risk and as a consequence get all the reward. So again, I will understand why someone may not agree. Like for me, I try and take a very broad perspective on this, but I would say from a certain perspective, you could actually see this as almost an ideal government program, where something that you would not normally associate, like, could you imagine seeing a Government of Canada logo beside Outlast, right? This is the sort of thing, it's like, if you're like, generally, if you imagine like civil servants, right? I imagine it's a little bit like The Thick of It or whatever, and like half of the time is spent worrying about, is this thing I just did going to show up on, a national paper? And so to a certain extent, you could imagine the product of something like this being, oh no, we can't, fund something gross like Outlast, like what will the voters say if they ever find out? Now, obviously, there's a few things. So, like, CMF is run through Telefilm. Telefilm's a Crown Corporation, so there isn't, like, that direct kind of intervention there. But, like, this is it, right? I'm very, very pleased that there is there's a program in Canada that allowed people to make a gross horror game that's a really fun ride. And it was not subject to, good taste judgments. But on top of that, right, it was $1 million, and I think there may have been some marketing money as well. But I think what's equally important is that it spawned a DLC, spawned a sequel, and now there's this multiplayer game. And I believe there's a third game on the way, and then there's also a free comic that they released as part of number 2. Now, as far as I can tell, those have not received CMF money. And so one story that you can tell in terms of promoting Canadian cultural industries, you have, I believe, ex-EA and Ubisoft employees. So these are people who are working for foreign companies. Obviously, I mean, there's the Ubisoft offices and the EA, they have a Canadian presence, but, EA is an American company, Ubisoft is a French company. Very, very good talent. They develop it through that, through those companies, but they set out on their own. They make a company. They make a game with this government financing, even though it needs to be paid back, right? There's a program in place for them to receive the funding that they needed, or at least part of the funding that they needed. And they turn around and they've not, this program has not created a company that is dependent on getting the next CMF award. It's a company that is on its own financing its next games, and at least to all appearances doing quite well, right? So this is the sort of thing that, to a certain perspective like this, the one way you can see this in terms of it not being someone who's coming back to the well is that this is freeing up the CMF money for the next batch of people who need to establish themselves and set up that kind of a studio. So I don't know, to me, like, I sort of feel, some of this is just going to be like, who cares, I just like games, right? But this is, and I, maybe I don't want to hold up Red Barrels as like the one shining star of the CMF, but they make good games. I like these games, and I'm really happy that, you're able to say, the Canadians did this? Yeah, damn right the Canadians did this. Canadians are great at games. So I'm sure I got some of the details of the story wrong, and of course, as one does, you just kind of blast through I trust. These seem like a trustworthy sort. Twitch account linking. Fascinating. I'm just going to put this capture away for a minute, just so that sorry, I'm just trying to... Oh, there we go. Okay. Cool. I actually don't know what the link does. By the way, I get the impression I may be drowned out by the game. Is that the case, or? And I'm slightly wondering if the replay introduction is like the tutorial. Sure sounds like it. The game is quite loud, okay? I suspect that's better, but probably not ideal. I should maybe roll that back a little bit. It's a shame, right? Because, you know, obviously horror games do get the benefit of, you know, loud noises to you know, get some jumps. All right, I'm not getting any feedback, so I'm gonna take it down a little bit further. All right, I'm just trying to see. I've got 5 minutes. All right, I feel bad about talking as long as I did. I've got 5 minutes before my laundry is ready for the dryer, so I'm wondering if maybe... All right, multiple tasks completed. Visit the tasks menu to claim rewards. Introducing the Relapse Initiative. Reach the maximum therapy level to access the Relapse Initiative. Relapse reverts your therapy level to 1 in exchange of a permanent upgrade of your choice. Introducing the new in-game store. You can use Murkoff coins to unlock deluxe catalogs, past event catalogs, and purchase items in the black market. In celebration of the new store, all reagents have been granted 500 Murkoff coins.
I trust you can hear me, locked in there. It would have been so easy to kill you, but it's not your body we need to destroy. It's your story. The idea of you. Your fairy tales about escape, your lies about freedom. You united them against Murkoff. Against me. That hurt me. It really did. How can I help my children if they won't trust me? The answer is simple. A father gains the trust of his children by giving them his trust. We have to sympathize. Walk a mile in the other fellow's shoes. Put yourself in their skin. A father has to give his children the tools to cut away the doubts. To silence the confusion. This is trust. not your brother's keepers. You are your father's children. Sometimes you have to hurt the people you love to help them get better. You have to trust me. Escape was the injury. Relapse was triage. Now, it's time for the surgery. It's time for invasion.
Geister Part 2. Program Geister Part 2 is currently available. Visit the terminal to learn more. Yeah, so I obviously have... Invasion is now available. Visit the terminal to learn more. Yeah, I have obviously got a lot to learn about. I'm going to let the daily tasks. The daily tasks have been refreshed. Visit the tasks menu in the terminal. Weekly tasks. The weekly tasks have been refreshed. Visit the tasks menu in the terminal. I'm not going to lie, I don't remember any of this. Okay. Yeah, sorry, this is going to be like a big long introduction with no gameplay just because I have like 2 minutes left for my laundry, but I figure we can do this. So Geister's back. Program Geister is an experiment in convergent hallucinatory therapy designed to amplify unforeseen side effects of the trials. Surviving subjects can expect prolonged psychological harm. In new in-game shop, Murkoff hears your demands. We are introducing the new in-game shop where reagents can purchase exclusive outfits, DLC packs, and catalogs from past events. To celebrate the opening of the shop, every reagent will receive 500 Murkoff coins to spend on new items and cosmetics they might have missed in the past. But don't spend them all in one place. The shop will be updated regularly with the legendary outfits and more. Live catalogs that are taken out of rotation will eventually come to the shop, allowing reagents to acquire much sought-after outfits and other cosmetics long thought, I think it should be say thought, lost to the sands of time. New feature, Invasion. The Invasion Initiative invites reagents to take the role of imposters, donning a mask to imitate a fellow reagent, and wielding a knife to increase and then end their suffering. Show us your commitment to the therapy, show us your loyalty to the Murkoff Corporation. Whichever end of the knife you're on, we're all getting better together. I do have a slight side of me that would really like to turn off invasions. At least for the purposes of a stream, but I don't know if they... Okay. Looks like that is definitely part of the game. Fair enough. My laundry alert just went off, so I do apologize. I didn't mean to spend so much time... Oh, that's nice. I didn't notice the Halloween decorations. But I'm going to Stanley Parable for this. We are going to spend some time in the break room. Such a beautiful, beautiful room. So I am going to... There's two things I'm going to do. One, I'm going to switch out the laundry. Second of all, I did have one... So first of all, I've got a coffee, which isn't in front of me. So I'm going to get that. But two, I did want to wrap up something that I was going to do on a break anyway. So I'll just get that done all in one go. Then we can just sort of focus on the game and be done with it. So again, I do apologize for the clowny start. But I promise, the stream's in the mail. It'll be there soon enough. See you all in a bit. All right. So, I think we're actually ready. No, sorry. There's at least one more thing I need to do, and that is check out the terminal. So, oh, okay. So this is just this is actually jumping into a run. So, load out. Daily tasks. Accomplishing a task gives reagents a sense of pride and earns them various rewards. Catalogs. Behavioral attire shapes your persona on the path to rebirth. Complete tasks, earn stamps, become a better you. Your behavioral attire shapes your identity. Visit the Murkoff store often. New supplies arrive regularly. Yeah, so it seems like invasions are not optional. Which is like, I kind of accept to a certain extent. That's kind of how it's supposed to be. Like, it's a... Where's the... Oh. Wow. Okay. I am definitely interested in reading more of this, but let's maybe earn some of these before I go too much further. Yeah, there's like... I kind of need to acknowledge that I'm playing a multiplayer game like a single player game. I normally play... I did not take my break sign down. I will tend to play this game, you know, in a... I really like the way they've decorated for the... I really like the way they've decorated for the season. And again, this is very different from... But yeah, so I play this game very much in a way that... What? Oh, I didn't know this was... But yeah, so sorry, as I was saying before, like I very much play this like a single player game. When I do play it with someone, it's usually somebody that I individually know. And I mean, it's one of the reasons why I liked it. I was hesitant to play it originally because it did seem like something that you had to play as a group. And I quite liked it because it was possible to play. But so the idea for resisting the invasion mechanics are just, you know, I kind of like my... I like my single player single player Outlast experience, but you know, I can't fault them for wanting to push something a little more consistent with the vision. Genesis, thematic therapies filled with trials and MK challenges, specially curated by Dr. Easterman to guide you along the core path to rebirth. So around the time I last played this, they were about to introduce, but had not yet introduced the courthouse. Since then, apparently they've added the toy factory, docks, downtown, suburbs, shopping mall. There's a hell of a lot that I need to get into. All right. But we're going to start with the police station. Laws are the lifeblood of any community, and a police station is every community's heart, the beating, pumping organ that keeps your property safe. Which side of the law are you on? I'm wondering if I should do, like, I feel like introductory is a little too low, but I don't know, I'll try standard and see I'm just kind of concerned about these locks here, because the way I did it originally was like I did the introductory versions and I moved up. I've definitely done kill the snitch and cancel the autopsy. Maybe sabotage the lockdown, but yeah, these other ones are pretty new. So anyways, kill the snitch. And apparently it'll take 45 minutes, which will give me just enough time for the laundry, although I tend to play very slowly. False witnesses must not be allowed to spread their false truths. Take the snitch to the execution chamber and silence his lies. Oh, that's right. I got it.
Please enter the shuttle. Your God's eye. Accept what you are. You are the exterminator. Only we can tell you what is true. There is a snitch inside the prison, preparing to testify against our truth. Kill the snitch, and we will let you out.
And here I thought we'd get by without the green smoke. This is also very amusing to play with Kite because he is like one of the nicest people I can imagine. I don't think I want to change any of that. But obviously this is a game full of very horrible things, so. Alright, kill the snitch, police station. So, where I can, want to grab things to make a noise or defend myself with. There may be some value in smashing this window now. For the simple reason that I'm probably going to want to jump through that in the future. It's been a while. Okay, I don't think I need the one of the things that is fun when you go to the advanced levels on this, some of the old hiding spots wind up being blocked, and it's I believe it is randomly determined, so alright, definitely want to switch out for one of these. I believe it's randomly determined, so you wind up with these wonderful moments of like thinking that you're going to be safe. I'm a little exposed here. One problem here is I don't actually know... Like, there's a bunch of stuff, but it's a little hard for me to tell what's what. Anyway, yeah, so sorry, I was trying to say earlier, the one of the things that's really fun is that the familiar places have these moments of sort of sheer panic. Oh, that's new.
These walls aren't here to keep you in, they're here to keep the wood.
But yeah, so there's something kind of fun. It seems like maybe almost something basic, but this idea of, you know, taking something that was familiar and making it feel unsafe again. You know, it's purely a... Yeah, this isn't gonna work. It's really a difficulty setting, but it does a great job of increasing the intensity of the experience. Okay, cool. It's a bit forgiving in distance, but I really do not want to be running through that. It is also weird I've not seen anybody yet. Oh, there we go.
What do you mean so ready?
Oh. This definitely feels like it lasts shorter than I remember. Oh boy. Okay, that's not so good.
Right this way.
I also completely forgot about the propaganda posters. Doesn't seem like there's a quota this time, though. Okay. I also don't remember the reflections on the ground like this. So it would appear at first glance that the improvements are not just in terms of more gameplay, but they I'll say on the loading screen there were a couple of moments where I'd really lag out. This is actually an example of how some of the hiding spots get blocked up. So performance-wise, there's definitely been some improvements, but
Told him everything I know. I told him. Please let me out.
This is a 20th century facility. Every door in it locked firm by the twin miracles of electricity and live convenience. Ain't shit you criminal jackoffs can do now, is there?
pretty sure that's a new line.
Down this way.
Alright, this usually takes me some time. Although apparently there's only one generator. Probably not a bad idea for me to take a beat.
You pinko fucks are gonna have to club. Ain't shit. Well, ain't no one blow it down.
Okay, so that's nice to know that there's fuel there, but we need to find where the we need to find the generator first. Alright, that's not so good. That was kind of a necessary evil as far as making noise is concerned. I think I'm back. Oh crap.
In the cold and dark of night. I'm gonna get behind. In the cold and dark of night, I'm gonna let it shine. In the cold and dark of night, I'm gonna let it shine.
Okay. Good news there. Not so good there. okay. I wasn't sure if I could... Definitely like a little bit of a better idea in terms of where coil is before I start messing with the sounds. That's also going to be a big one I want to deal with. I think if I'm going to try, now is the time. Yeah, I'm screwed. Okay. Might have panicked a little too much there, but... So it sounds like there's somebody else in the area too, so I may want to... Alright, let's give it a try. I don't like the sound of that door. God damn it. It's probably better to keep the doors open at this point. good.
Of course you won't need the answer. Colors your Tommy, and I'm happy to sell you whatever it is you want to buy. Law is sort of a miracle. I can find life insurance for something that already happened and you can't do nothing about. I got a place to say it, but I can't believe on my own.
Obviously I can hear him, I just don't know where he is. Alright. Let's give these a wide berth, because I think they have a tendency to jump out at you. And I might be able to just leg it to the opening here. Alright. Again, probably taking longer than it should, but I'm definitely going to be heading to a section that takes me a lot of time.
I can't be seen with you. Fuck off.
No, no more. I'm fucking begging you.
Right this way.
Get out of here.
So the big problem on this one for me is I tend to get chased around by the big guys quite a bit. Adrenaline helps, but it's usually not enough for me.
Ah, this hurts.
No.
What's wrong with you?
I will confess, I know I've done this a few times before, but I'd almost forgotten how much I like this.
Goddamn dogs. Do you really think following records all this is gonna keep you?
I think I should probably make myself scarce. So I definitely put a pretty high premium on so I'm going to lose some progress with the snitch, but at this point I don't think it would hurt to get some intel on what symbols I need. So for instance, the moon's helpful. I do have something to recover from the whatever you call it, the drugs, but in general, I would prefer not to have to use any of this stuff. So I think there's a way through here. Yeah, the bathroom. Oop. Pretty sure I saw propaganda there. So some of this stuff I don't always find wasted time because it gives me a chance to sort of see where a few of the different keys are, get the required symbols, and most importantly, where I can, get rid of these kinds of blocks. So I can cheat a little bit and just see. Okay, it's not obvious if there's anybody there. Okay, so that gives me a couple of useful things. So I think I'm going to be very lucky if I go the distance, but
I just wanted a job.
okay, allow me to express some surprise at being able to get away with that. So there is a side of me that says I should just try and find what the third one of these is. But okay, that's not so good. That almost went bad. Now that's helpful because that's the next one. That's the first one that I need to open, which is nice. Oh crap. I'm probably a little too skittish to play this game, to be honest. And I know, I know some people just kind of breeze through these. It is actually kind of funny, like especially for the, like the original Outlast game. Once you kind of know it, you can run around and do silly things during the, you know, the really intense and violent parts of the game, but I am unfortunately not that skilled. And to be fair, one thing that's kind of nice about that is because I am nervous, it does sort of retain some of the things that you would normally want in a, okay, butterfly, but I'm going to lock that into my, But yeah, having a sense of nervousness isn't the worst thing in a game like this, just because it kind of keeps the original reasons you want to play something like this to have a few... I have no idea what the hell that is. This is actually a funny dilemma for me because, like, obviously I don't know some of these new things, and in one sense it makes them all the more terrifying because it's just something making horrible noises. And in another sense, this is a game which you sort of ostensibly should be playing with friends and companions. And so I feel a mild obligation to actually, you know, learn this stuff. Oh crap. Well, shoot. I might get away hanging out here, but I definitely need to wait for things to cool off. Well, that was an adventure.
I did everything Rick wanted me to get here. Then going out here.
I don't know if I'm gonna make this, but I do want to lock him into place. Now the catch here is... Oh, I didn't even get the butterfly. All right. Okay. I won't mess with the new arrivals. As long as I know that I need the butterfly, that's fine. Okay, that could also be a bunny. Crap. So I guess the question is, am I willing to make the noise here? Yes. Ah, damn it. I probably would have been fine if I didn't just panic like that. And of course, this is the part where I feel particularly foolish, right? Because, hey, Kree, great to see you! Oh, that was a bunny. Sorry for being a bit distracted, but... Oh boy. Oh, that's good. Not so good. But yeah, so I wind up feeling particularly silly in moments like that because I'm spending all of this extra time trying to avoid being hit, and then, you know, I get a little bit of damage, and all of that work is sort of for naught. Have you seen Outlast Trials before, Kree? For some reason I thought that you were here when I last played this, but yeah, this is a happy game about treatment for mental health. When I did the original Outlast game, I mean, it's because I'm not banning them, right? The perception of the number of bots, I think, is driven directly by the fact that where normally I'll have them taken out right away, I'm in the middle of a game that requires, like, I just can't tab out of it. So, I think it's probably the... Oh. Okay, got a little lucky there. Okay, I was worried that might happen. I don't think it would be a bad idea for me to just hold back on this for a bit. Doubly so. Under no circumstances attempt to engage the giants in melee. Go on, get out of here. Okay. I wish I had adrenaline to work with, but I'll do my best.
You've been hurting me to get you out of this place. Shit.
I'm getting tired.
Gullible ass. You're gonna hurt me. I just wanted. Oh, God.
The big thing on this one is I do not want to trigger the finale and be tired.
Murkoff's gonna kill you, gullible ass.
I'm gonna make myself scarce. Normally I like to try and get a little bit of a charge, but it sounded like someone was arriving. By the way, pro tip for you joggers out there. If you play this during your morning jog, you get like twice the distance. Okay, it's all health. It's like the one time I don't want health. I think this is a particularly good song too. Like there's the whole soundtrack is great. The youths may call it a banger. But I remember the first time I did this, I was very nervous. All right, you only YOLO once.
No matter what you do to me.
I have no ah! Okay, screw that. So yeah, no real hope on, oh, that is not health. Where's the medicine? Yeah, so obviously very sloppy as far as health is concerned. Hopefully my overuse of the rig redeems me when it comes time to do the status report. pretty sure he saw me.
Please exit the trial. All agents must enter trial shuttle.
Face me! Face me! All right, I'll take the A+. And actually, we got that in 2 minutes less than I was expecting. I don't know what is worse, to hear you say you only YOLO once, or over and out. And third place would be ATM machine, but that one is so common now that you think I've become desensitized to it. Well, I mean, you're also a developer of computer role-playing RPGs. All right, therapy completed. Spectacular. 756 used X-ray successfully. Splendid. All propaganda posters collected. Splendid. Used rig 29. Splendid. Collected propaganda posters 5. Splendid. Collected documents 2. Growing. Used bricks and bottles 5 times. Prudent. Disarmed 4 door traps. Correct. 2 enemy headshots. Correct. Relied on hiding spots. Correct. Used batteries. Correct. Damaged by floor traps. 1. Learn. Triggered soundtrack. Okay, well, screw you, game. That did turn out well for my laundry, though. So obviously that took me a while, and I don't know if I oh, that's a shame. I wonder if I don't get my credits for that. Anyways, I got a couple of minutes on the laundry. So I don't see a lot of value. I believe it does time you while you're like when you're in the game. So seeing as I was disconnected, it maybe wouldn't be a bad idea for me to just chill out in the title screen for a little bit. But I'm curious, because there's a few regulars in here. I don't know how many of you had seen me do Outlast Trials before, but if you had not, what do you think of this game? It's fun with the friends. And, you know, we're into this. There's no longer those horror posers who are playing on October 31st. We play horror games in November. That is not a genuine set. I've also found that for the last couple of weeks, I've needed to explain my sarcasm, which is, you know, that's fair. That's on me for not being clear. But I am in this rather unfortunate place where I think some statements are so ridiculous that they can't, that they, you know, they don't require elaboration. But unfortunately, that doesn't mean that other people feel the same way. And obviously, I'm not a good judge of people's tastes on that. You can remember it from a while back. I like watching scary stuff. Can't play it myself. There is actually a side of me that would be... it would be kind of amusing to see you try this, Kree, but it would be... I feel like it would be unkind if you were to subject yourself to it. Have you ever played the... I don't know if you've ever played like the original Outlast games, like the single player games that this is derived from, but all right, my alarm is going off for the laundry, so I am going to take some time to myself, and what's going on here. Okay. I don't... I'll try and do another one of these. I think the next one is relatively short. But this does actually have to be a shorter broadcast just because I started so late. It is still a school night, and I don't know, it's kind of why I actually wound up doing this game, because it's a nice change of pace. It's not like completely out of left field for me, but I don't know, maybe one day we'll get Kite and anybody else who's the coalition of the willing. But now that I see that there's so much new stuff inside of here, there is actually a side of me that would definitely be interested in seeing some of these new levels. But honestly, Kill the Snitch is not a bad place to start. So anyways, I'm going to tab out for a minute. I'll let you enjoy the Murkoff imagery. And when I return, I'm going to... we'll do at least one more. I can't promise any more, though. For sure, Vanguard Master. Yes, I should be available. I won't have like a ton of time after stream, but definitely feel free to message me. All right, I will be back as soon as I can. All right, thank you for your patience, comrades. I also saw your messages, Vanguard. Obviously, I'll need to wait till after stream to handle that, but I will definitely check those out. I'm not 100% sure what the deal is with the Twitch account linking. Like, I was kind of under the impression that chat would be given the option to, like, mess around with... actually, just give me one more second here. I thought that chat might be given an option to sort of, like, mess with me. Yeah, it says it's linked. I'm actually going to take a minute to search for that.
You're all working to unlock your potential.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so apparently there are Twitch drops. Okay, fair enough. I don't think this would be a terrible game to do some kind of, you know, the audience gets to mess with you mechanic, though. Okay, back to the Murkoff facility. So, given that I'm doing some of the standard stuff, I think it's probably fair to say, alright, from now on, any trial you play could be invaded by imposters. Do you want to enable invasions and trials? It can be changed anytime in the privacy options menu. So... I think I'm going to start with friends only. I'll put it to you this way. I actually don't think... I have that much more to learn, but I think I would feel a lot more comfortable enabling invasions if I at least knew what the map looked like. And then from there I can maybe... Stupid game making me play with other people. Okay, if I go to introductory. Okay, yeah, so it basically just wanted me to show I know how to do the thing. So, cancel the autopsy, if I recall correctly, is very short. Corpses offer forensic facts incompatible with our truth. Grind the bodies into factually correct slurry. How do you mess with you during the game? Well, one, you buy the game, and then number two, you hit whatever the invasion button is, and you come after me. I don't know. I kind of feel like if it's a... Like, the problem that I usually have... I remember this during... Dead by Daylight, which was not a game that I particularly... Like, it's not a game I'm that fond of in the first place. For a number of reasons. Like, I don't like watching it that much, and I actually don't like playing it that much. But I especially remember, like, it was I think the second time ever I played, it was with a friend. And, like, basically... Whoever wound up playing the killer was this battle-hardened veteran that applied, like, every top-tier buff they could, because I think if you play with friends, they weren't consumed or something like that. So, like, just someone with a, like, in addition to the advantage of experience, like, every possible advantage they could get. I don't remember if it was, like, an insta-kill thing or whatever, but, like, I just remember being so frustrated by that experience that, you know, it's like I don't like this game already, so why carry on? So the reason why I feel I'll probably be a bit more okay with it in this game is I, like, generally know what it looks like. The only thing is that the whole idea of the imposters... Hey, Dig Inferno, how you doing? The only thing about this is that I don't know how the invasion mechanic works. Like, I don't know if you're supposed to complete the mission before, before they get you, in which case that's going to be tedious. Like 45 minutes of trying to hunt me down is not well, I mean, either it's going to be over real quick for me, or they're going to have a terrible time. Oh, I'm sorry to hear it's only this is a very good game, Dig Inferno. I'll say that I'm going to be playing the second police station mission. If you've ever played Outlast, you'll be right at home with this. They've done a very, very good job of incorporating this into a co-op and now actually PvP game. There's the invasion mechanic I was just talking about. But yeah, so like with that in mind, like compared to Dead by Daylight, this is like a game I already enjoy, and so the invasion mechanic may add a little something for me to I don't know, like I kind of know where I'm at. Like generally, invasion mechanics tend to be something that, for the most part, pulls me out of what I want out of it. You also rage quit Outlast 2 when you're close to the end. That's fair. Fine Canadian games, all of them. But yeah, so like I really like the Dark Souls games, but I also don't feel I get that much of an advantage by removing the hollow status. So, I just didn't really need to deal with invasions that much. And I sort of understood that when I did open myself up to invasion, that I should expect someone who is like completely outmatches me in every possible way, that effectively my character is dead if I get invaded. So for the most part, whenever there is an like external force entering into my game, what it does is it kind of makes me feel a little bit more like an NPC in somebody else's game. And for the most part, that's not really my thing. But in a very, very strange twist, like, Team Fortress 2 or Counter-Strike or, I mean, those are super old examples, but, or Battlefield. I'm trying to think of some ones that I would have played somewhat recently. Dota. I mean, it's been a few years since I played Dota. But the funny thing about it is that I don't necessarily have a dislike of PvP on its own. It's just usually that when I play a game, I generally like co-op a lot more than competitive. And I think it's just mostly because it's kind of fun to try and overcome something with something. Like it's basically a chance where you can sort of you can goof around with some friends, whereas if you're in a competitive environment, you kind of need to focus. Actually, here's a great example of it. Sea of Thieves, right? Like, and I kind of dislike the way they did Safer Seas because it strikes me as one of the most grudging implementations of something that players have been asking for a really, really long time. And I think the games are completely fair to say, like, this is not the experience we want to do. But yeah, so with that in mind, like my track record for games that mix the two has usually been that the PvP mechanic, I always feel, lessens the game for me. But I do want to be open-minded on this and turn that on at some point when I feel a little more comfortable with the levels. But for the purposes of this stream, I will enable it for friends, knowing full well that I don't have any friends. Anyways, yeah, so Dig Inferno, I'll be jumping on. This is the second of the police station missions. The one other thing that I wanted to say about this that I really appreciate about this game, and I didn't even think that this was a feature that would work for me, this is wonderful for my streaming purposes. So, like, I know I did the like max difficulty, you only get one life for mode of Outlast. That was fun, but like that obviously took a lot of time. I did that for Whistleblower, and I kind of want to try that for Outlast 2, but I know that is going to be a struggle. And the thing is, if you play a game like that, like if you do the one life only thing, you go, start to finish, it's a couple of hours. Like that's not a disaster to deal with. But if you're trying to get through, or if you can die, like obviously that is a slog. And because, you know, I'm already balancing XCOM 2 and Cyberpunk, the idea of like locking in yet another oh, were you not there for the oh, you only get one light? That was actually a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. I feel like I got a lot more out of Outlast doing that challenge actually. But yeah, it's just the things that I'm trying to think of, like in terms of Outlast 2 taking me out. I think the like little fella who hits you with the crossbow, I have a feeling that's going to be one that I struggle with a lot. But yeah, anyway, the thing that's great about this one is that it does a great job of like it does a great job of narrowing the experience down to sort of these bite-sized chunks, anything from like 45 minutes to 15. And they're self-contained, right? Like the enjoyment comes from either taking on bigger challenges or I probably should jump in because I know at some point it's going to tell me to you know, to actually play. But yeah, like it definitely gives you it gives you the same feeling, but in like a manageable package. So like this one apparently should be done within 15 minutes. We'll see how well I hold to that, but and at some point I should actually try this with like people.
Not allow evidence to determine the course of justice. Corpus delicti. Find the bodies and grind them to slurry, and we will let you out.
Yes, the evidence conflicts with our truth, Vanguard. You know what? Lockpick only. Because in the first Outlast, the Murkoff folks had found some friggin' MK Mountain Massive. I believe they were actually just the continuation of MK Ultra, actually. But this actually takes place prior to the events of Outlast. So, just so I can explain, I'll do my best to explain Dig Inferno, but I do tend to get rather distracted by this game. So, you get 4 slots to take your actions with. The items provide different advantages. So in this case here, I'm going for bottles mostly so that I can sort of make noise and distract the enemies. In this level, you need to get the keys from the yeah. So in this case, I've abandoned my lockpicks in favor of stuff to throw at the bad guys. Okay, so that's a spade. That's not something that I need. Now, so far, I don't see any evidence of the bad guys. So this kind of requires me to make noise, which is always dangerous. Now, if I had a lockpick, I could open that up, but... Okay, so that's the sound of a special enemy coming in. Yeah, so they just came into this room.
That's what they pay me for.
Now this guy will make you go crazy if he catches you. So I'm just gonna wait till I can't hear him.
Fantasize love itself. We'll be rich.
I could theoretically peek. Isn't it great to see those? Like, he obviously went by the... Alright, there's another bad guy in the background there. So, I think the smart move is to get the hell out of here. But yeah, what I'm looking for right now is a body with a moon, an eye, or a heart. If I open the wrong... If I go for the wrong icon, okay, that's gonna make me go a little crazy. Fascinating. Now I want to see if I can find a lockpick. That adrenaline can be quite helpful. I don't see any lockpicks there. This is actually the first I've seen this. So, as you might guess in a game like this, making noise draws enemy attention towards you. One of the other important factors, though, is you are graded on your performance. So, by not falling for certain traps, you... Okay, there's definitely somebody bad trying to do something. Yeah, so adrenaline in this adrenaline in this basically gives you infinite stamina. I'm pretty sure adrenaline in just about any game. Okay.
Give me what I paid for.
I'm probably safe to hop out. Oh, are you kidding me? That does not sound good. Yeah, if you're jumpy, the game also throws some random noises at you too. All right, excellent. Now, one thing I've never been clear on is if the keys are... Oh, that's not a good sound.
That you from Pete? Fucking world.
As I have frequently said to Kite, there is no known way of framing an English sentence containing the word sweet pea that means anything good for the intended recipient. Yeah, so if the hypothesis turns out that the keys are limited to the sectors that they're labeled in. Oh, you know what? There was a poster. Oh, damn. I do not want to be making noise right now. This is going to run out before they... Okay, you know what? You only YOLO once. I'm pretty sure there was a poster back at the... Anyway, sorry, only time when you appreciated adrenaline was when you pulled a muscle during a hike in the mountains in the very late 1980s. Didn't feel the pain immediately. The next day was horrible. Yes, that was my experience with a different injury. It was bad enough, like I was very badly injured, and it was enough that my legs were really, really badly bruised. But I didn't actually appreciate that. Like, I didn't even notice I was limping or that I was even hurt there until I was basically walking out of the hospital. So, I don't know, I think there's something kind of wonderful about the fact that the body just sort of notices notices the bad thing and is like, hey, you know what, you're probably going to die, so like, we don't need to make this any more horrible than it was. Yeah, no worries, digging forward. I'm being a little coy with it, but I might as well just come out and say it. So, I was hit by a car not too far away from work. A couple months ago. And the only reason I was a little reluctant to mention it was just I actually got some paperwork related to it, which apparently due to a postal strike had not arrived to me. And they're like, you know, if you don't, like, what I'm seeing this for the first time, and I'm getting basically something that says, if you don't get back to us in 11 days, you know, by mail, so God knows how long that's going to take. You know, it's kind of making an assumption about what I intend to do with the case. And I don't know. I don't think that's a very good way to run a system, right? Like, I don't think it's just the strike though. Like, I saw my address was completely wrong. My first name was wrong. I would feel a little more sympathetic. Sorry, I hear footsteps. I'd feel a little more sympathetic if it didn't have so many obvious errors. And like the big thing for me is that I actually made a bit of a deal about like what was being asked of me. Like I kind of made the point that I actually missed more work doing the paperwork than the time actually spent in the hospital. And the end result really seems to be like, you know, this mislabeled, like, so again, like I'm the one doing the paperwork. I'm the one. I'm the one sort of facing the inconvenience. But the, now again, my hypothesis is that I'm not going to find what I need in this section. Okay, diamonds. Yeah, I don't know. It's just sort of like mistakes happen, right? I think there is something to be said for there is something to be said for not making things a bigger deal than they have to be. But I also think one of the reasons why it's valuable to do that is because when things matter, or when you say, I'm not comfortable doing this, that's the time people should be paying attention, right? That's the time when, you know, you say, okay, you know what? They've been reasonable up to this point. They're not trying to make problems for the sake of making problems. You know, we've messed up if they're, you know, if they're feeling slighted or hard done by on this. So the thing is that, you know what, like, I guess the question for me is, why have all the inconvenience, all the time spent on, you know, this paperwork, something that I was resistant in, you know, in doing, but I did, you know, after voicing my my objections or concerns. But if the end result is that, you know, I'm no further along, you know, that the result of all of this effort is that I still have, you know, I wind up getting paperwork presumably months after I was supposed to. Oh, that's not good. I really want to know what the hell this thing is. But no, yeah, as you say, right? Like sometimes mistakes happen too much, and like sometimes the mistake that happens is a really big one, right? I am... Oh, I am so done for. I don't know what I was worried about. But yeah, so like, you know, as a, you know, an empiricist, as somebody who does like economic work, like I'm familiar with the statistical value of a human life. And I could not think of a worse way of saying, like, you know, okay, well, there's an acceptable casualty rate. Like, you know, there's a problem. I think it's like open heart surgery. I can't remember exactly what procedure it is, but I remember reading about this in a Edward Tufte book. But there's like when you are sewing up a a patient, there is actually a possibility in one of the procedures that you sew. I can't remember. I don't think it's a vessel, but anyways, there's a way of like you can sew both sides of a like a blood vessel or a. Sorry, just getting rid of the evidence. Coyle, good to see you again.
Please exit via trial shuttle.
I'm feeling a need. You is hurtful.
But yeah, so anyways, like, a procedure like that, you can't just say, there's an allowance, right? Sometimes these things happen. You notify Easterman, exceptional candidate. Hey, new level. But yeah, so, that is the thing that you want a 100% success rate for, right? Air traffic control. You want a 100% success rate. Now, the way this stuff actually works is usually, like, it's kind of a Swiss cheese principle, right? Which is you accept that for any individual, like if you're relying on sort of like an individual, there is the you basically can't allow that mistake to be the only thing, right? So what you do is you create these sort of overlapping systems where failure in one isn't perfectly correlated with failure in the other. And that's actually how air traffic control works.
Perfect. You're the engine of the future. I fill you with pain and humiliation, and you burn with obedience and prosperity. Every day is tomorrow.
I did a good job. Well, yeah, no, so just to be clear on this, when I talk about like statistical value of a human life and stuff like that, what I'm doing with that is to say, like, I understand how for some measurements this is a useful mental construct. So a good example of this would be for any given stretch of road, you can kind of put up like barriers on the, on a highway or something like that. And you know that over the life of that highway, there's going to be a number of potential accidents that can occur. And there's a cost imposed for building and maintaining all of those barriers. But the fact of the matter is you don't know, like if you knew ahead of time, you'd do anything that you can to stop that accident from happening. But because you don't know, you make an evaluation. And that's kind of where statistical value of a human life comes in. Or a similar example would be, air quality. In principle, we would like absolutely pristine air quality in all places around the world, but we do enjoy things like, like manufacturing is a requirement. In fact, I'll go so far as to say that a certain amount of manufacturing, a certain amount of economic activity generates the medicine with which we enjoy longer and healthier lives. And so it's like, well, how do we find the balance between it? One of the answers to that is, again, you have a statistical construct and you sort of know, this is a really grim thought, but like there is some level of air quality degradation that has the potential to result in a shorter life, right? Somebody with respiratory problems living in an area with a low enough with a low enough air quality is not going to live as long as they would otherwise. And again, in a perfect world where you can organize that right, you make sure you put people in the right places. But the drawback is that we don't have that knowledge, right? We do our best with the information that we have. So what you don't want to do is you don't take out the ledger and say, if you've got like a rescue mission, you don't have a ledger and say, oh no, we hit our cost allowance, just let them go. Usually what we do is we expend considerable resource. Like actually consider the people on that submarine, right? The Ocean Gate, the one that was going down to the Titanic. It was very likely that, or almost certain, I think, that the sub was destroyed. But consider the amount that was spent trying to find them on the chance that they were still alive, right? Nobody ever sits out and says, nope, sorry, here's the cost allowance. And I mean, it's fair to say, at least in term, my understanding is that definitely Canada had a role to play in that. And in the end, that was the Canadian taxpayer that was paying for at least the Canadian part of that rescue mission. I don't want to say it was only Canada that was participating. Obviously it wasn't. But yeah, so this is, but the thing is that again, when I never want to get to a point where we sort of shrug and just say, yeah, stuff happens, right? So again, that idea of that operation where, actually, you know what? Just give me a second here. I might be able to find the specific procedure. All right, sorry, but yes, the specific event I was thinking of is possible to pick up the like an artery wall in the course of sewing it back up. So, anyways, the overall point that was in service of, right, is that where I can you don't freak out about everything. Hey, Thunderclap Sasquatch. I may be wrapping up reasonably soon, but I appreciate the emote. But yeah, not freaking out about everything is good. And it's precisely because when it really matters, that is when you are able to focus on the, when you're able to focus on the issue at hand, let's say. But the other thing too is that I also know when it comes to matters of surgery and that is one of the reasons why you have these very ordered, you have these standard procedures, right? Everything's laid out in a particular way. There's a series of checks, and it's built entirely around making sure that you don't, you minimize the chances for these kinds of errors. I believe it is actually to the point where I think all of the surgical implements are counted. At the very least, they are accounted for before finishing the procedure. And I believe that is specifically to make sure that something isn't left inside the patient. Now, I think medicine lends itself to those kinds of examples that we were talking about, Dig Inferno, just because, again, that's often quite literally life and death. But when I reflect on that paperwork example, I'm just sort of thinking the number of things I was individually asked for, and yet apparently none of that was relevant to whatever went into, the wrong name and the wrong address being on the mail, which I am now sort of responsible for handling. To me, that's kind of what the reason for being a little pissy about it on, when it matters, is specifically to point out, why are you asking for all this extraneous stuff when the result is still an error? It's clearly nothing that I wrote down was consulted, because that is definitely not my name and that is definitely not my address, and I would never have written it this way. As it is, I actually have the original copies of things. But anyways, I'm sorry, that was a much longer rant. Again, I may not have time for another entry. I'll see what it says about the length of the next one. But what was your impression of that of your first round of I wish I knew what the MK meant up here. Mortal Kombat, no doubt. Curious what your first impression of Outlast Trials is. Sabotage the lockdown. So it says 15 minutes. If you can open doors, no prison can hold you. Power the generator to enable your escape. All right. Probably going to regret doing this. It is quite late, but let's go for it. If only because I know Vanguard Master is waiting for me to reply to something from him. I think if we do kill the snitch, it will definitely be a bit more. It'll definitely be a bit more like the. I think it'll be a bit more like the base Outlast games. But yeah, a bit like the original Outlast actually is once you know how it works, you can do some silly things.
You are the spider, not the fly. Prisons are how civilizations eat. Power the generators and release yourself.
But I will also say that, yeah, when you say push the psychological buttons, the one thing that I do think the single-player games have an advantage of, which is just insurmountable when it comes to this game, is that those are able to create situations in which you're, they're able to create an environment in which they can play around with the expectations a bit more. Definitely when this guy comes hunting in the kill the snitch scenario, it gets quite a bit more tense. But even then, right, the best that they can do in those cases are sort of add people, remove people, create a sense of uncertainty. And I'll actually say that tends to come up quite well when you've played this a few times and then you go to one of the harder levels. Because what will usually happen is all of those hiding spots, which you used to get quite familiar with, they actually wind up having stuff jammed in them and you can't use them. So that's... I thought that was a fun way of playing with the idea of safety. Oh, right. This one definitely... It says 15 minutes, but man, I definitely take longer. It's funny you mentioned that, actually, Dig Inferno, because I know the most common criticism I actually hear about the Outlast... You are kidding me.
God wouldn't give me these liberties if he didn't.
Oh, I'm gonna get hit. Damn it. I think I'm gonna get hit twice now. This is not gonna go well for my rating. Whoop, 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 whoop. Well, that was a good start. So problem with this is I've gotten completely turned around, which is going to make it a little exciting in terms of navigating to the exit. So this is near the start.
There is the law. Trespassing.
I'll have to come back for that.
A lot of suspicious characters around here. I'm gonna scrape you off my belt. Don't make me.
Yeah, this is not going to take me 15 minutes. I thought I saw something in there that I might want to come back for, but... Alright. Alright, so I'm sort of back on my feet.
Please, somebody, just give me a reason.
Actually, I don't think I have any other ways around, so... So first thing I need to do is actually find the fuel again. Okay, that's encouraging. There we go. Not again. Biggest thing I need right now is something to throw. So, let's see what progress I can make, but a little worried they might just sneak up behind me. That doesn't sound good. See ya! I didn't exactly have a lot to work with there, but I am glad to see those two bottles. There's a third one over there if I'm feeling brave. Which clearly I'm not, given the amount of running that I'm doing. This is why I always keep one of these antidotes nearby, because I have a bad habit of getting hit by those. Uh-oh. The big man. I don't want to go there. So I may be able to do an end run around him.
Over here, I think.
So if he turns around, I'm in trouble. Hello, Pandora Carp. Just a reminder, it did say it was going to take 15 minutes to do this. It only takes a few minutes if you are not a complete coward like me.
Please, somebody just...
Don't go where I need to go. This is such a stupid move I'm making. Oh, this is gonna...
Hello there.
Want to take my chances with the big man?
Over the ramparts. March.
Alright, feel a little bit better about that.
We're down for a second. I'm a fucking god. Danger.
This is definitely fine.
Markov brand. Of course it's safe.
Oh, there's a propaganda poster over there at least. Dude! Oh, I did not need him to be there. If you don't mind, I'm just going to stay here for the next 45 minutes.
Nothing. Always nothing.
Damn, there's a lot of stuff.
Pills before why?
So I'll let them do their thing. It looks like he's, yeah. I expect, yeah, he's going through that. Oh, nope, that's a different guy. Okay, they're at least going in the right places. Okay. Is obliging with the door.
Here we are.
No way. Question is, do I try and run for it, knowing that he might be able to catch? Oh, he's on his way.
Stage rights. That's all it is. Come into my backyard and tell the people who elected me that I don't have the right to enforce the law.
I've apparently picked the busiest intersection in the whole map.
Always dark before dawn. No Lord but the Lord.
Fuck you too, Dad. You're not my dad.
I'm fucking daddy.
I need to find a place to hide. I didn't want to swap that. Wait, really? Well, this is kind of a waste now, but... Let's see if I can remember where I put my fuel. All right, this is crappy.
Remember anything? No. There is the law, and there is chaos.
Love the idea of just running right into the big man while trying to avoid coil. I am not good at this game.
The leprous face of socialism in every shadow. Donations for ability to chase down animals. You go home and bleed out, honey.
Thing is, I saw papers here too, so I kind of want to. It's another room. It's not here.
Oh.
here before. All right. I'm also probably a little too geared towards trying to find that paper.
There you are. Goddamn bones. What are you gonna do? Holy.
So I might have been able to make it. There we go. This is not going to be a good place for me to be. And I've well and truly lost it as far as knowing where the generator is at this point, which I think is kind of the intention of this level. Like, I think you're supposed to feel quite disoriented, but the way I'm going to try and get through it, I'm going to try and move to areas I haven't seen before.
Sometimes wonder if you're just mistaken because you like to be punished. Don't get full of those pigtails. Look at that armor.
So for instance, I don't think I've been in here. There's a bunch of locked off areas, which makes me a little nervous, but...
I can't reach your mind.
Okay.
You got another thing coming.
He'll never guess I'm in here. So I'm not convinced trying to get as far into Sector C is a bad way to go. It says electrical room, so that seems promising.
Remember anything?
So obviously I'm making a little bit of a hope here that I'm going to remember where to orient myself, but... not good, not good, not good.
With the right medicine, you can live forever. Sid, still might be reality.
It definitely sounds like more than one guy, but... Oh, there we go.
Time, Coach. I can do this all day.
Apparently everybody likes coming to the same area all at the same time.
Some fucking day.
As soon as I see them turn around, I'm willing to... Yeah, like that's the sort of thing I want to avoid.
Don't let those old men see you sweat.
Well, hey there, Coil. Alright, unfortunately, we have lost quite a bit of progress if this is where we're going.
You're gonna pay!
Hi there, big guy. Are you trying to suggest that Coil's gonna die of old age before I get out of here? So honestly, like one of the biggest areas for improvement I would see for myself would be I don't need to like run a marathon every single time something goes wrong. Like it's not that hard to get away from the... It's not that hard to get away from the baddies. I haven't used a single one of these bottles.
Land of the free! The free! Nothing. Always nothing. Just need protein. Come here.
Run for your lives! And I hear Coil too. So there's a couple things I could use right now. One, there was like that one barred door. If I can find the other side for that, that will make this a lot. There's the generator. Didn't think I quite made enough noise the first time, so. Okay. But yeah, so again, like the whole like flailing around every single time the scary music starts really only serves to disorient me inside the level. Like it's not exactly a straight line, but there was a pretty clear path of kind of go forward and to the left was like not a bad sort of standard operating procedure. Run for your lives!
I used to stand in the storm, watch the lightning strike the plains, and I would think, well, there you go. That's justice. Sometimes the finger of God reaches down and touches you. But you never know which finger it is you're going to get.
Oh, there's normally a... Okay. I wasn't even thinking about that. So again, I got a little disoriented, but give me strength.
I got places that I can't reach on my own.
So yeah, that doesn't work for me right now. This might. Nope. So the problem here is I don't know where coil is. But I can at least move the generator up. The big problem here is I'm completely trapped on this side. So first sound of trouble, I gotta run for that thing. Okay. Damn it. I don't want to use this unless absolutely necessary.
It's always darkest.
I'll get penalized for hitting that sound trap, but that at least got me past coil. Brick might be a good idea. Again. But yeah, once this thing clears, we should go for the generator. Tricky thing is, I don't actually know what this enemy does. I'm going to assume that somebody who can throw Molotov cocktails is intended to damage you and create areas that are difficult to traverse. But you can never be too sure.
God wouldn't give me these liberties if he didn't intend me to exercise.
So again, there only seems to be one direction for the generator. I'm going to wait till Coil walks by. I'll keep the X-ray charged. Alright, that's a little weird. So that almost seems like there's another way in. Okay, I don't know how he did that, but... Uh-oh. Come on, you bitch!
Christmas coming early, didn't it? Easy there. Relax, baby.
Alright, I'm gonna knock it off with running through the environment, because there are lots of nasty things that want to kill me in here. Not to mention the traps. Oh, I'd never take it personally. Okay, I'm wondering if that... I really hope that's not the generator that's pointing me to.
Hold it right there.
I am kind of glad it didn't let me open that door. Okay, I'm gonna trust that the symbol... Yeah, this is taking me back to the start, and it seems to be... Oh, there's some weird rubber banding happening here. I'm pretty sure it's going to dock me some points. I never did find the... Yeah. climb over this?
A healthy respect for authority.
This could get interesting. All right. I'm clearly missing something here. Oh, yeah. This is going to be really funny if the exit's near the generator. I was just assuming I needed to go back to the entrance. They even have a person pointing. All right, round 2, throwing bottles at Leland. Oh, go to hell.
Hey, you trying to hurt me?
Please exit the trial.
Easy there. Respect. Oh, you can't do that. You just can't.
I'll take it. Hey, we got an A+. 3 times as long. Candidate may be capable of real atrocities. Wonderful. I have never been able to do this well. Alright, caught 2 door traps, really? 2? I only remember the 1. 3 sound traps, that's not a surprise. And I got another level. Alright, that was fun. Again, I'm terrible at that one, but that was definitely fun, especially when I wasn't quite sure what to do about Coil. It's nice to feel confident enough to throw resources knowing that if you've missed the timing, you're in trouble.
You're special. Nobody else is operating on your level, and I have special things planned for you.
Was
Keep going.
my last performance review, too. All right, I don't know if I want to spend on these things, but we'll see what the...
Let's get you healthy.
So, revitalize, fully restore health when revived through syringes or respawns in solo, or medic help. Yeah, so the catch here is, right, these tickets are scarce, and I don't actually... How many of you in chat have seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Sometimes I see Dr. Easterman by the coffee urn or the water cooler, and I linger. I pour a little extra sugar in my coffee and stir it slowly. I'm not nosy, just curious. Dr. Easterman was so upset by the news he heard out of Korea. Some of our boys came back changed, like they were different people. And Easterman thought, well, if you can change people for the worse, why couldn't you change them for the better? I think it's so important to be optimistic. I guess by now you've seen some of the earlier candidates for the therapy. Gooseberry, Coil, all the experimental population. Poor dears. I think they just didn't try hard enough. But as old Mother Barlow said, waste not, want not. We can use those earlier mistakes to help shape your healing. We just want you to get better.
I don't want to be selfish. I'm just waiting
You're
for
so
friends to play. Waiting for friends to play with before I commit. All right, I'm definitely taking a lot longer than I was planning, but I will confess that was fun. What do we have here? I believe I only have 4 deaths. I'm trying to remember the other ones. I remember the first one I got was very upsetting. I'm genuinely trying to remember the other 3. One of them was just I didn't know what the environmental hazard was, so there's definitely a couple things that'll insta-kill you. Some people have been playing this a lot longer. All right. Oop. Time spent in trials. 44 hours? My God. All right. Let's see what fun things we have here.
Go ahead.
Okay, we've got everything from the engineer. Right. So I haven't decided.
Careful out there.
I actually think the X-ray for me works quite well in terms of like I may take longer to get through some trials like that, but I at least kind of get the I get the information that I need. So I'm sure at some point I'll try something new, but X-ray's working for me right now.
What do you need?
And the Shadowy Dame. Noise reduction. I mean, the thing is, I probably have to replace some of the existing things that I have. Okay. So, I mean, I can buy these to see what I can get, but...
Don't bet on any slow horses, huh? I just stress me out.
Let's go for... Oh, cool. Evidence. We don't have anything complete. But... The Road to Sinyala. Easterman Recruitment, 1953-01-12. Okay, so we have partial records, but then we have full entries too. Yeah, okay. I'm going to leave these be. I feel like I should actually tell the story rather than get the bits and pieces. At least I haven't failed any.
Release your sadness and fear. You don't belong to any nation or church or family. You belong to you. Let us tell you how to get better. You could be happy, confident, productive.
Okay, I think I will leave it there. I was originally going to try and read some of the lore, but I think that's better when I have everything in hand. So, regain full sanity after some time in psychosis will last half as long. After hiding, enter a hiding spot to instantly recover from stamina exhaustion and receive an adrenaline boost. Yeah, this seems like a decent... The best I can do would be to buy the Revitalize and Medic, but I'll see I'll see what I'm working with first. But yeah, I think I will leave it here. I hope this was a pleasant enough diversion. I will confess, the fact that I'm finishing now makes me wish a little bit that I did XCOM, because I was originally thinking that I would want to play something that doesn't, you know, people wouldn't feel too bad about me spending less time in. But if you would like to see more of this, let me know. I don't have a plan on coming back to this like within the next couple of weeks. I definitely want to focus on XCOM and Cyberpunk. But I will also say that if you, I don't know, one, if you'd like to see more of it, I'm happy to put it back in the rotation. And probably on my own time, I'm going to spend some time doing a little remedial Outlast Trials, just to get familiar with the maps again. And actually try the new ones, because again, the Courthouse was just about to release the last time I played this. But let's see who's online and who I can host. Absolutely no one. All right, well, thank you everybody for hanging out. I'm sorry I don't have anybody to host, but them's the breaks. Oh, actually, let me just double check. I wonder if... Nope, I got nothing. All right. Thank you everybody for hanging out. Sorry for such a clowny ending. I hope this wasn't too far off the beaten path, but we will be on Cyberpunk on Friday, and then we'll be back to XCOM on Monday. Until then, take care.